Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗏. Today guys, we're going to be diving into the world of stellar lumens to see exactly what's been going on with the price action of XLM. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗏. With all that said, done and out of the way, let's dive down into the charts here and take a look at what's been going on with the price action of XLM. Okay, so we're going to start things off with the weekly chart, guys, really highlighting the kind of motion and structure that we've seen so far and what we might start to expect to happen next as part of the bigger picture and where the bull run might actually take us in the case of XLM here. So basically 5 impulsive waves, much like many of these other cryptocurrencies that we've been watching this particular cycle. We can of course see that we've had about 3,000% gains from March 2020 through to the high that we had up here in May of 2021. Okay, so a pretty small kind of price push here for XLM. We've obviously had quite a big pullback when it comes to the case of the fourth wave correction, and obviously we're starting nicely with our push to the upside for wave 5, right? And some interesting things on here that we want to kind of acknowledge, right? If we take all-time high down to bear market low, this does show us, or so I should say actually, all-time high down to bear market low, we can see a 4.236 extension of $3.88, right? But could we potentially push higher than this? And obviously, based on the current wave 3, wave 4 scenario, this actually shows us, if I just jump down, moving to $2.74. So a little bit short of the all-time high bear market low. So what about the trend? What about the overall trend of our upward direction here, these 5 impulsive waves? Well, we can put a trend-based fib on here. And what we'll do is we'll actually just pop this on from the high of, the low of wave 2. Okay, we'll grab that. The high of wave 3. And then the low of wave 4. Okay, if we pop that on there, this shows us moving up to $3.33. So a little bit short on the all-time high bear market low kind of prediction, but this bull run is actually aiming out quite nicely for a $3.33 target for XLM. Now, this means that we are likely to have a huge surge towards the end of the bull run, but this is not uncommon for XLM. So again, many of these altcoins will go absolutely nuts, absolutely parabolic towards the end of the bull run. The idea here is that we do push past the 618, the 702, the 786 on the chart ahead of where things are to go. But as we can see from wave 3, trading sideways, being relatively static for a while, and then absolutely going nuts, really taking some price discovery to the new level, right? So right now what we're looking for is to basically continue this kind of growth slowly, and then as things really heat up, as FOMO really kicks in, XLM is going to rise through the ranks very, very quickly. When we take a look at the stochastic, we're just short of the overbought area. So again, nothing too much going on here from kind of the stochastic point of view. Do expect a small pullback to occur on the weekly chart, which I think is already kind of occurring, but nothing major will actually occur there. I do think we should anticipate continued growth here for XLM. So when we jump down into our daily, we can see the most recent kind of price action. Now, I know that we were tracking a cup and handle, but that's completely deviated away now. So what we did have forming, and this is of course, only 60 to 70% accurate, which is why they can, of course, deviate away from this very, very quickly. You could argue that actually the cup and handle was actually over here, right? So we could say that yes, was your cup. We then formed the handle just here, but we never actually got the break. Instead, September came in and pulled us down lower. You could, of course, argue that actually, we were tracking a cup and handle over here. Again, when we went into September, we were looking to kind of complete a handle, but we went too deep with this. It wasn't really good enough. And again, we deviated away from there once again. So right now, what we are actually seeing is no cup and handle, but we are finding ourselves with a major resistance blocker just up here. This comes in at basically 42 cents. So right now, we obviously are aware that there's this upper bound. This is an area that we consolidated heavily on the way down during our fourth wave correction. We're pushing up and finding resistance and getting rejected. Now, Now, obviously, yesterday's rejection wasn't just XLM, it was market-wide, and that was pretty much just a liquidation event. Too many people were going long. The institutions and whales witnessed this and basically shorted the hell out of crypto, basically bringing the entire market down with it. As a result, anyone who was going long got absolutely wrecked and got liquidated because they were using leverage. Obviously, on this channel, we don't use leverage. I would advise strongly against it, but I'm not a financial advisor, so it's recommended that you do your own research into what leverage can and cannot do for you, the risks that are involved with it, and the risks are very, very high. Personally, all I like to do is buy up my own crypto, put it into self-storage, cold storage, and basically, own it, right? I decide what's going to happen to my crypto. I will decide when I'm selling it. I will never be liquidated because I own it, okay? Places like Robinhood are incredibly dangerous for very ill-advised retail investors who are basically doing things like 100x and basically getting absolutely destroyed. And obviously, there's lots of horror stories around that platform. So I think ultimately it's important that we try not to leverage ourselves in any way. Own the crypto. If you can't afford it, it's not an opportunity right now. Okay, so yes, it will magnify your gains, but it will also magnify your losses, and that's exactly what we saw yesterday with a huge liquidation event. So much money was shifted between those retail investors and whales, right? So right now, obviously, we did have that pullback yesterday. We bounced up nicely. We're finding good support. We can take a look at the stochastic RSI on this daily. We're completely oversold, looking to grow now back to the upside. I think this is a short-term event. Liquidated retail investors have got wrecked, but the rest of the market can swallow that back up and push the price back up again. It won't take too long, and we'll be right back to where we were. And of course, the only people who were hurt were the ones who were using leverage, which is rather unfortunate. But nonetheless, we can continue this growth to the upside, pull back or not, and basically what we're looking for now in this oversold area is a nice huge surge to the upside overall. So basically, we were looking impulsive, but that's been invalidated. So instead, we ended up with an ABC. So what we're checking out here now is to make sure that we don't have an impulsive move to the downside. I don't think that's the case. It would probably just be corrective. So again, we're now looking for that push to the upside overall. So we would have had an ABC scenario. So let me just grab hold of that. What we looked for here was an A, a B, and then a C. So that looks like it had completed. But what we really want to do is make sure that we push above the A, coming in at 35 to 36 cent, get above A, and then is no impulsive move to the downside. That was going to be the key thing for us. What we don't want to see is basically this kind of move where we have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and then a 5 impulsive move to the downside, because this would basically open us up to then an ABC correction to the upside, followed by a potential another impulsive move to the downside, right? Which is not what we want to see. Okay, that's more of a bear market kind of scenario. So again, it's important that whilst it's possible, I don't think it's probable. So I do kind of say that it's possible, but not probable. What we're really looking for is to basically push up above that area of A. So basically, when we come down, we had A, we had the B, we had the C, right? And what we're looking for is basically to push us up above that 35 to 36 cent area. Let me just mark that on the chart, just about, put it over here, but about here, I think it is. Let me just delete that off. So we can see 35.7, and we came down as low as 35.8. So if I just pop that up a little bit there, it's about there. Okay, so basically we're looking to push past this pink line here. Once we do that, that invalidates the impulsive move to the downside and actually turns us into impulsive to the upside, i.e. we have wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is, I think, is more probable longer term than actually seeing us in a downward trend into a bear market. I don't think that is exactly what we're likely to see. So it's important that we acknowledge, there are some things technically that we have to pass through in order to allow us to be confident on that. So all eyes are on 35.8. In the same way that we saw the same thing happen with Harmony 1, it pushed past it, and we were able to lock in and move ahead with new price recovery. So overall, everything's looking pretty good. Good oversold area on the chart here for XLM, looking to kind of get above 35.8. So what about 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦? What does the underlying data from the artificial intelligence at 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦 tell us? Well, we've dropped down a rating, right? So we were B1, we've gone to B2. Okay, so overall we have slipped. Now, what's caused that slippage? Let's jump down and find out. So we have a Sharpe ratio in A2. So again, this is basically saying that the rewards outweigh the risks and that we might want exposure to XLM. This is actually a really good tell, specifically when we take a look at the Fear and Greed Index at a C2 rating. Basically, there's extreme fear in the market now for XLM, but actually it's saying that we might want to buy up that fear. So again, I'm not a financial advisor. You might want to jump over to 𝗕𝗏.io. There's a link in the description down below. It's completely free to use and draw your own conclusions. But as I read this data, as I read the charts with a huge pullback being oversold on the daily, taking a look at the amount of fear that's in the space and taking a look at the Sharpe ratio, that's kind of the fear that I want to be buying up. As we move on down here, we have an 𝗕𝗏𝗪 ratio that's a B2. So obviously with the liquidation event yesterday, that has caused a bit of an issue with liquidity. So again, buying and selling has become a little bit more problematic. This is pretty much why you find that there is a bit of a pullback with our overall rating, that and of course the fear in the space. The moving averages have been affected, obviously, with the rejection of that 42-cent area. Obviously, the 10, 50, and 100-day moving averages have been affected. We have grade D, so ultimately we are looking to improve that over time. The profitability is an A1, though. It's been performing well. Obviously, it's not the best performing cryptocurrency in the portfolio, but it has performed well, better than Bitcoin, for example, but not as good as Ethereum. Overall, I am still expecting some pretty good gains to be had here with XLM in the very near future as well. So when we jump back to the charts, obviously you can acknowledge the pullback. When we jump into the hourly and we take a look at what's going on here, we can see that we've found support on 32 cent, but we are overbought right now. So we are expecting volatility to occur here. As I said, the market is incredibly fearful right now. So if we throw the volumes on here, you actually saw this basically, you know, the price pull back, the volume increased for selling, and again you saw that with the liquidation occurring over here as well. The price pushed up. We had a slight push with the price to the upside, but we plateaued very quickly, so we are looking to kind of correct down. We want to find our support at 32. We want to hold that support level. What we don't want to do is pull down any lower than we were previously, so ideally, you know, we don't want to drop down lower than 30 cent. Okay, dropping down lower than 30 cent would actually be more of an impulsive move to the downside, and that would not be good. So again, what we're looking for here is to basically keep things nice and steady, move up above our 35.8. But obviously, in order for that to happen, we first of all have to correct down. And so we're looking for a correction, we're looking to wipe out the stochastic, and then we're looking to move up overall. So right now, expect volatility, expect a pullback, and then expect us to push up again. But I don't expect us to do anything too amazing here, and we'll just trade sideways until things line up nicely for a big push to the upside overall. Again, we're mindful, though, that if we do continue to fall back, then we want to be looking at some interesting support levels. If we go back to our daily and we take a look at where we might end up next, 28.5 cent could be another buying the dip opportunity if the market is incredibly fearful and we're unable to push past 35.8 cent. So do expect volatility, but obviously be aware that we are looking to try to determine whether or not we're impulsive up or impulsive down. A bit too soon to say right now for XLM, but overall, if we're ever in doubt, we just zoom out. We pay attention to the structure that we have on our weekly chart. This is where we're kind of like a cheat sheet, guys, because we can really take a look at the overall picture of where XLM is heading, and we don't have to pay too much attention to the noise of the smaller timeframes like the daily and the hourly. This still is very much on track, and there's nothing here deviating us away from the bigger picture. So overall, we are expecting volatility on the smaller timeframes, but the weekly is very, very nicely put out there. We have some interesting price targets of $3.33, and yeah, if in doubt, we just zoom on out. I'm going to leave the analysis there, guys, but if you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you'll be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.